Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another Chatting with Josh episode of today's, I usually say shit show, but I'm trying not to swear here in the cemetery. I like to pay my respects and do so accordingly. So, I'm actually here at the cemetery because I'm walking around my city today, the city I grew up in. And this is actually the cemetery that my dad is buried in. All four of my grandparents are buried in, and this is actually where my mom's plot is already purchased at. So, I actually find a lot of peace walking around cemeteries. I feel it's this one sanctuary that always is quiet, collective. People have actually respect for the dead, and honestly, I find so much peace in death. And not that I long for it or that I'm super excited for the day to come, but it's inevitable. And I feel like being necessarily scared. Sorry, my thumb's in front of the camera. I'm not going to redo the video. This is just completely authentic. And yeah, I actually have found a lot of peace this morning. Just kind of walking around, enjoying some nature. I always find it so weird that someone actually lives on the cemetery. The mortician, the mortuary. No, I don't know. Did the people? I feel like the people at the funeral home don't live here. Who lives there? The guy who digs the plots? I don't know. Feel free to let me know in the comments if you guys know more about that. But yeah, just absolutely insane thought to think that there's actually people in every single one of these plots in the ground here. How decayed they are, how long they've been there. Insane. Like some of these plots, I'm not going to show some of them just due to the respect of the dead, but some of these plots say they've been buried since the 1800s, like the 1700s. This has been here for hundreds of years. This cemetery. So there's two sides. There's the Catholic side and the Lutheran side. My dad's on the Catholic side because I am a Catholic, but just kind of interesting to think how. I was baptized and born Catholic. Honestly, I personally have my own relationship with God. I'm not a insanely passionate churchgoer, even though I do respect, the groups and everybody that does kind of get along. Anyway, I have my own relationship with God, and I do talk to him every day, and I always get a lot of comments, everybody with their own opinions, and it can be kind of, debatable, the whole topic of it, but I find a lot of, sanctuary and peace in the whole thing, and I was raised to be a God lover, and I was raised to always believe in God. My mom is always preaching, blessings and the abundance of the world and all that. So it's kind of indoctrinated into me. But at the same time, as much, I have had many stints in my life where I was like, oh, maybe I'm just overthinking this. Maybe I'm wrong. I actually genuinely feel like I actually have a pretty good grasp of my mindset about where I am in life in terms of my relationship with God and how I feel about where I am. Obviously, if you guys have seen all my other videos, I have my own struggles and I do rant, my own different opinions, and I'm as transparent as I possibly can be, as much as I can be online, because, we're still humans at the end of the day, and you don't want to share everything with the internet. People can be cruel. The whole world's not perfect, and that's not how it's meant to be. But at the same time, I find a lot of hope in the fact that nothing is exactly where it needs to be. If there's no progression to make, what's the point of continuing on? There has to be another level, and if you're already at the highest level, you're going to lose all ambition. And that's kind of how I felt. It's kind of why I kind of gave up on setting goals, like numerical goals. Like, oh, I want to hit 5,000 subs. That's cool. And I know I'm going to get there if I keep pushing. But it's really only if I keep putting the grind of the work. It's really up to me, and there is luck involved. But compound interest is consistency turns into growth, which almost proves is a guaranteed success. So I'm just out here ranting now. But yeah, I'll be right back in a second. I'm gonna go find my dad's grave and maybe my grandparents. I'll catch you in a second. My dad would always take me to go visit his dad at this exact cemetery. Kind of crazy how now I'm visiting my dad at the cemetery, and maybe if I have kids, my kid will be visiting their dad, me at the cemetery. Crazy how the way of life works. But anyway, I found my grandpa and grandma's grave, so let's check it out. And I'm gonna clean it off, so let's do this. Around all this box, I knew it was up this hill and around the tree, but which tree, right? So I finally found it. It took me about 5 minutes. But here we are, Peterson. That is my real last name. Anybody who might not know, look, there's a bunch of bugs, but yeah. This is my middle name, Leonard. My full name is Joshua Leonard Peterson. Shout out to my grandpa. You can see right here, 1911. Made it to 1984. My grandma Bertha, beautiful woman. I love her. She's one of the best grandparents. May 16th, 1921 to 2015. That's how long she made it. March 13th. And yeah, this is the old stone right here. This is the old plot. And kind of crazy to think how time works, I'll probably sweep it off and clean it more and visit some more and talk to them personally off camera. But I used to visit this spot so many years, so many different times, more than I could even count or imagine with my dad. And now my dad is down the hill because, about 50 years later, those are the plots, because all these are filled up, that's where all the new plots are down there. So you guys are gonna see that here in a second, but I just wanted to show this. I do have my other two grandparents, my mom's side, are here too. I'm gonna try to find their plot, but as dirty as this one is, that one's probably even dirtier, and I'm not exactly sure where that one is, but I'm gonna try to find it. So give me some hope. Whenever I walk around these cemeteries and I see these people with these huge ass stones, these huge plots, talk about money. I mean, my whole family just have these little holes in the ground with a little marker on top. Imagine having a whole statue. That's really leaving your mark, huh? Really leaving a legacy for yourself. Guys, it took about 10-15 minutes. Actually, the guy who owns this place, funny, I was just talking about that. He actually came out because I was walking around videotaping, and that's not very normal at cemeteries. So he came to ask what I was doing. I told him I'm visiting my family. Complete respect towards each other. And I actually do appreciate him doing that, because we need somebody like that to protect the dead and protect these types of sanctuary spots. Anyway, we're gonna flip this around. We're gonna talk about my mom's grandparents. Or my mom's parents, my grandparents on my mom's side, yeah. Is Vorderbruggen. Have you ever heard a last name like that? 13 letters. Imagine telling people that's your last name. Vorderbruggen. It's like you're a Viking or something. Anyway, Dolores was my grandma, 1935 to 2014. And then my grandpa, Thomas, we called him Tom, 1937 to 2012. Yeah, so as you can tell, my dad's parents were 20 years elder than my mom's parents, but they were both high school sweethearts. If you can tell by their grave, they were born within the same year. My mom was actually 6 months older than my dad. But anyway, I just had to come here and visit all the graves. It's actually very cool, being that all my family's graves are pretty much in the same spot. So yeah, very, very grateful. And thank you so much for the guy who helped me find this, because super cool. He actually said that he inherited this place because it's a family thing. That's actually how you get this job. So good for him, and I definitely respect him. I definitely honor him. So shout out these guys. Hope they all rest in peace. All right, so in this plot right here below my feet is where my dad's real body, bones, whatever is left of him, is buried. This is also where my mom will be placed when she perishes and her days are ended, when that time comes. Hopefully no time soon, God forbid. But kind of crazy to think how a lot of people go to these, graves, these cemeteries, and they really feel like this is where they are. But me and my mom, I've always talked about, we never really feel like my dad is here. We never really felt like we're talking to him here. We feel like this is just a place. Yeah, he is here, but he's gone now. He's in a different realm, a different space, a different, his own reality, whatever, maybe not even reality, whatever that is. As you can tell, December 23rd, 2014. And that's actually, that's a day right before my birthday. My birthday is Christmas Eve, December 24th. So he died the day before my 15th birthday. Honestly, you guys can save all of the I'm sorries, because he was not living the best life. He was paralyzed from the neck down for the last 2 to 3 years of his life. He had necrotizing fasciitis, is what he had a boil in his butt. He had skin problems his whole life. He had psoriasis and boils, and he's always had these types of problems. And so when he was deer hunting one year, back around 2009, he had a boil by his ass, and he actually had necrotizing fasciitis in that boil. So we are in the type of family where we don't go to the doctor. Being in America, the way the money is and the way finances are and the way we feel about doctors, we just try to hustle it out and try to, tough it out for as long as we can. Well, ended up, he was actually a day or two away from dying, the doctor said, because if you don't know what necrotizing fasciitis is, it is a flesh-eating disease. It's very, very rare, not very common. It's kind of getting more and more, different cases pop up, but overall it's not very common, especially not back when he had it. Most doctors never even saw it before he arrived at the hospital, and they even said that if he didn't arrive when he did, he only had a few days left to live. Well, anyway, they got him in about 17 surgeries in 19 days, because the only way to cure necrotizing fasciitis, there is no cure. You have to cut out whatever flesh that's already infected before it continues to spread, or else he would have just basically lost his life. And he was very close to losing his groin, if you know what I'm talking about, guys, here, because it was by his ass. He was very lucky to be able to keep his balls, so kind of funny. But as a guy, that's something that I think we can appreciate. But at the same time, he was paralyzed from the neck down because he had the ostomy bag in his stomach, if you know what that is. Because all of his surgeries were around his bowels, he couldn't shit through his ass, so he had to shit through a hole in the stomach, which is called an ostomy bag. Anybody who's and knows anything about nursing, or has ever had any sort of family members or friends or acquaintances who have dealt with this, they know what I'm talking about. It's quite the complication, but definitely a way to survive when you can't live the normal life that you're born to be. Anyway, so he went to get the surgery to get that removed, and I guess I'm not sure if it's small or large intestine. Anyway, it got backed up and it blew up inside of him during the surgery, which his body reacted and putting him into like a cardiac arrest type of situation where he was paralyzed from the neck down. still fully mentally there, other than, you know, the years and years and years of extreme drugs like morphine and fentanyl and whatever they give you in the hospital when you have these extreme types of surgeries and these extreme types of cases. Over the course of years, his mental kind of dwindled. He wasn't fully there because he had to be doped up all the time to even be able to not be in pain 24/7. The doctor kind of explained what it felt like to be paralyzed from the neck down. It's kind of like when your foot's asleep. It's kind of like how his whole body felt, but times like 1,000. So it's kind of crazy to think about having to live like that. So honestly, when he did pass away, I was sleeping probably 5 to 10 feet away from him because I would always sleep on the couch in the living room because he never wanted to be alone. So my mom would sleep on an air mattress, and I would sometimes sleep on the couch. My brother was a home nurse as well as my mom was also a home nurse. They fully dedicated their lives to this, and they got their certifications to make it all happen and work. Anyway, well, now he's at peace, and genuinely, we believe he passed in his sleep. At least we hope that was the case. He had a trach in his throat, so that was pretty much the only way that he was able to breathe. And the type of machines that they have these days, he would have been kept on the ventilator for as long as he needed to be. I mean, but his heart stopped, and, you know, God, you know, told him it was his time to go. And he had very many different situations throughout these surgeries where his heart stopped, and he said every time he said he had 3 different dreams where he talked to whatever, and it's very interesting. So I definitely have my own beliefs, and I've talked to my own, you know, I have my own like relationship with God, so I will always believe my own beliefs. But anyway, this is just me sharing my kind of story, and I always felt like this is important. And the more I grow the channel, the more I feel like I really want to share these types of things. And I don't know, I'm kind of walking around, and I feel like his story deserves to be told. Now, how, you know, entertaining or how, you know, relatable, how, you know, if anybody wants to listen to this, who knows? But if this helps anybody, or if anybody even is interested, I feel like this is worth sharing. And for my dad's legacy, and especially for my mom's legacy, kind of crazy to think, isn't it? Look how close they were in ages. They were high school sweethearts. This is my dad was my mom's only boyfriend, the only guy she ever kissed, slept with, anything. They had 3 kids together, me being the last. They actually had 4 kids. They had my brother, my sister, a miscarriage, and then me. And I always wonder if my mom had the miscarriage, if she would have had a hysterectomy after, and maybe I wouldn't be here. Maybe there'd be a different person 2 or 3 years older than me. Maybe it would be me, maybe it'd be somebody else. Crazy how life works that way. But everything, I feel like, is meant to be the way it's supposed to be. And just kind of crazy how that is. Yeah, anyway, hope you guys kind of appreciated my little sharing my little story here. And it's always cool to come by and, you know, clean off the grave. Even though, like I did say, I feel like it really isn't like I'm really seeing my dad when I come here. I do realize he's here, and one day when I die, I hope somebody visits my grave, or at least like remembers my existence, you know. And when you have kids, isn't that kind of why you have kids? You know what I mean? So I could like pass this on, or I could show my respects, as well as for everybody else here. Kind of interesting to think. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys go, because now that it's getting later in the day, a lot more people are starting to show up at the cemetery. I think they might have services coming, so I'm going to let you guys go, and I definitely appreciate you guys watching. Shout out to everybody who supports the channel, supports me and everything I do around here. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time.